Welcome in, everybody. James Phillips here. It's the Coach Bryan Moore Show, week 2. And Coach Moore, we said last week that we really wanted to be able to come back and talk about a win over Cullman, and that's what we get to do this week.
Yeah, it's a lot better than getting beat 28-27, I can promise you. It feels good.
Yeah. So 21-19, you guys, first time that Jasper's beaten Cullman since, I think, 2010. And they had won 10 out of 11 meetings, something like that. So it's got to feel good to get that victory.
Yeah, you know, we're obviously going to break the game down, but ultimately we won, and that's what matters. I mean, I didn't feel great about a lot of the game. I mean, we played really hard, but we just didn't play well with some first game issues. But, you know, again, just to win a rivalry game, those games are never, they're never blowouts. You know, they're always going to be close. Those kids have a ton of pride. I think they were extremely well coached. As I mentioned in the show, Oscar Glasscock did a really good job with them. I think they're better than they were last year, and he has a lot to do with that. But, yeah, it's big to win a rivalry game.
All right, before we go into break down the game, let's talk about the atmosphere at the game on Thursday night with the new turf and everything looked great, and then you've got the Jumbotron. Just what did you feel about how the fans turned out and the way it felt down there? That's
one of the greatest atmospheres in a high school game of any kind that I've ever been to. It was incredible, from the flyover, to a new turf, to a Viking ship that we ran out in, and the Jumbotron. That thing had only been on for a day. And so for Susan Chandler and all those people that got involved to get that done, and Daktronics and all the people that put that in, to have that up and running and run flawlessly, I mean, I thought it was incredible. So it was a crazy environment. I mean, I'm kind of in a bubble, so to speak, in a game. I try not to look too much. It's kind of like being way up and not looking down. You know, It's kind of the same thing with you don't want to look up because sometimes it's intimidating. I mean, when you look out there, there's 3,000-4,000 people there. I mean, you are just blown away. And, I know that it was loud, especially at the end of the ball game. Our crowd got behind us. Our band was amazing. I mean, just the atmosphere itself was just incredible. So a lot of people had a lot to do with that, from our administration to our coaching staff to our director of football ops to everybody involved, to the band, to the cheerleaders. It was just a great night.
I mean, I've been in a lot of stadiums over the last 23 years, and that was probably the most electric atmosphere in a high school stadium that I've been a part of.
Well, and it's a great way to set the tone for the season. I fully expect it to be like that every Friday night, and our kids deserve that from the work that they put in, but it was just unbelievable. I mean, it just truly was. Again, all that we did, all the upgrades, I know people wanted to see that, and it just made a very inviting atmosphere, one that, again, our community can be proud of.
And I would think that, since you said it was the first day that the Jumbotron was even working, that's probably going to get even better.
Oh, yeah, with the graphics and, the intro videos and, all those things. And, again, the advertising that we can do on that, it was just really cool. So, again, our people just did a great job of getting that going.
Yeah. Okay, let's go straight into the game. Go quarter by quarter maybe and talk about how you think the game went. You guys started off and just let us know.
Yeah, man, we moved the ball. They decided to receive the kick to open. They won the toss and took the ball, which tells you a lot about the way they feel about their offense. And we shut them down 3 and out. They punt. We drive it down inside the 10, and we had a big holding penalty. But we got it back to 3rd and 9, and we were going to throw a little post-corner ball in the corner of the end zone, and it just slipped out of our hands. Parker's a sort of a rookie, so to speak, as a junior, but this is his first go-around, and just kind of had a mistake, there, and it's tough to turn it over going in because we believe in Preston Reed and being able to kick a field goal. So if we didn't complete the pass, we're inside the 20, we can knock that through. Preston's pretty good inside the 20.
Right.
And we dropped the ball there and turned it over, but our defense stopped them again. And it kind of went back and forth, but we had the field position. At one point, they were at their -2 yard line. Grayson Deal had a great punt. I believe that was early in the second quarter to pin them deep, and then we ended up scoring on the next play. So it was 4th and 2 at Cullman's 41 or 42, and I elected to punt, which was a little bit different than last year. A lot of times I would have gone for that, but I believe in Grayson, and he knocked it in there. Then we got the ball back and scored the next play on a double pass with Caden Shelton. That's his versatility,
Right.
And so we're leading 7-0. The extra point proved to be very valuable. All of them did.
Well, and you guys have shown that double pass few times
We
last
have.
year as well.
Well, we set that up so well because we're going to throw that same screen out there to Caden we did early in the game, and
Right.
so it's hard for people. The corners got to come up. So we're going to run that again. You know, when we feel like people are being aggressive. So, but yeah, they ended up scoring on a big pass play to make it 7-6 in the second quarter. That really up until that point they had like 15 yards of offense and one first down. You know, and we gave up an 80-yard pass. Kind of the style of offense that they run puts you in a scenario where you put corners on an island. And Dora was over there by himself and had kind of a misstep. And they had a kid that could really run, as you could see, and we couldn't track him down. And so they scored. But the same kid, this is a huge improvement from last year. Dora ended up making the tackle on the PAT that was botched.
Right.
That ended up keeping us up 7-6, which proved to be, again, a game changer in the end of the game because of 2-point conversions and all that type of deal. We drove it back down there with a 2-minute drive and ended up missing a field goal just by a couple feet. You know, Preston really hit it well. Good operation from Cullman Sapp and Harrison Saunders. But we went into halftime and I was not happy.
Oh, well, I talked to you on the field, and I could tell you weren't happy.
Yeah,
I didn't know exactly how to react at that point.
Well, I apologize for that, but it was like 6 penalties, a turnover, a complete bust on defense, a fake punt against us that we had our defense still out there. We knew it was coming, and we just didn't do our job. We didn't stay at home. And so that was very frustrating, you know. And then the good thing is, though, there was we got challenged at halftime. Our coaching staff really challenged our players, and we came out, took the kickoff at half, and drove it down with no passes. Right. And we had no third downs. First and second down, just hammering the ball ahead. Scored on a great run by Caden, and then made the PAT to put us up 14-6.
Well, I was told at halftime that you were pretty fired up, but somebody told me that Coach Darwin was extremely fired up, and that's when you guys drove it back down to start the third quarter. You could tell the offensive line, the running backs, those guys were really getting after it.
He was, because we had some misalignments from our fullbacks and tight ends. The way that we set formations, they're the strength of the formation. So how we call it, they have to align correctly. And a couple of those runs, even on the drive beginning the second half, we were misaligned a couple times, and we've got to clean that up. It was first game, for Carson sliding back to fullback. Right. There's a lot more on you than just playing right tackle at this point. Yeah. And then Andre Neal being his first game at the position, but again, those kids played great overall. Yeah. Just had a couple of moments, and Patrick just kind of challenged them and did a really good job. That position for us is crucial.
Right.
But we ended up taking the lead 21-6, starting the fourth quarter, and really felt good about it. Right there, about 11 minutes to go in the ball game, and then we gave up a trap, the only big run of the game, and he goes all the way to the 2-yard line. One of those running backs that I mentioned was really special. They were everything I thought they would be. Our defense played extremely well outside of a few plays, but those kids could really play, and we didn't keep it capped off. We missed a tackle, and he squirted for 60. Yeah. Now, from an effort play, we ran him out at the 2, but they end up scoring the next play. But the big part of it is 21-12, they go for 2 and don't get it. So now it's still a 2-score game. So for us, that was a big momentum shift. But we went 3 and out thereafter. We fumbled, which was very unlike us. And Caden fumbled, and he'll be better. We'll put more emphasis on ball security. We normally don't have issues turning the football over, but we fumbled there. And they ended up scoring, and it made it 21-19. But what we were able to do at 21-19, we got a huge stop defensively, an interception by Caden Marchbanks, and then we made the one first down that we had to make to be able to bleed the clock, and we did that. So, again, last year, 28-27, we don't finish the game. This year, 21-19, another nail-biter, but we finish, and that's what I'm so proud of. There's so many things to clean up, but it feels so different cleaning it up after a win than it did last year.
Right, yeah, last year you're coming off a last-second loss and still had plenty of things to clean up.
No doubt.
At least this year it's 1-0.
No doubt about it.
Talk about the kicking game a little bit. That seemed to be in I don't want to say an improvement because it was really good last year, but that was kind of a question mark coming in, and those guys really stepped up.
Yeah, you got 2 sophomores kicking. You got Preston Reed that's handling field goals and PATs, and then you got Moises Sanchez that's handling kickoffs. And then, of course, the senior, Grayson Deal, I thought Grayson, first off, was drastically improved. He had the one ball that got off the side of his foot, but otherwise he had a 40-yard punt average, which is a huge deal in high school with no returns. Our coverage teams were good. Remember last year we had a punt blocked that I thought changed that ball game. And this year we were clean. We protected well. We started doing that back in June. We put more emphasis on special teams in the summer this year, and we're drastically ahead of where we were. As far as our kickoff team, I thought our coverage was really good. From the first kickoff, we pinned them inside the 25-yard line on the first kickoff. I mean, that is huge. Last year, we had to kick the ball short. Moises got a little bigger leg than Michael Herron did last year, and so we're letting him kick the ball deep. And part of that is a trust thing with our kickoff team. You know, if you're going to kick the ball deep, they're going to have an opportunity to return some, and you got to get the guy on the ground. I thought overall we had one face mask. That was a mistake, but overall I thought we did a really good job of kicking off and covering. And then also kicking to different sides of the field. We kicked it deep right, deep left. We pooch kicked a couple. When you are able to kick the ball around and control it, Moises, being a soccer kid, can really control the ball off his foot, and I thought that was a big advantage for us. And then in our PAT field goal, I thought our protection was good, our operation was good. We were 3 for 3 on PATs. We missed the field goal by about 2 feet. He really struck the ball well, so that was a big deal. And then I thought our return teams, you know, the way that they sky kicked the ball and kind of popped it around. Andre Neal had a big return. Avrion Berry had a big return. Our field position was much better than theirs. And then our punt block team got close to some. There's a lot of unknowns when it comes to punt as far as the opponent in the first game. And we had no idea they were going to rugby punt. And they were rolling the guy, and that changes launch points and blocks. And we did a good job of adjusting. But overall, and Anthony Harris, another huge development. I heard Greg Tinker say it on TV 16, but just fielding all the punts.
Right.
Not allowing them to, because on that turf it's going to really roll. It's going to bounce and roll. And he fielded all those, which probably saved us 20 or 30 yards of field position throughout the game. And he's sure-handed, and we feel really confident in him. He had one return for 15 yards, and all we ask our returners is make a first down. So overall, I thought our kicking game was better than at any point last year already.
Right.
And I think that that's going to be a bright spot for our team.
Well, how about just talking a couple other points, offense, defense, who stood out to you? I know you guys moved the ball well,
Yeah.
just, you know, kind of hurt yourself in a few different spots.
Well, I thought we, first off, controlled the game up front. I thought our defensive line, they had 56 total snaps in the game. 46 of those went for 3 or less yards. So overall, we're winning the line of scrimmage. You know, we had 13 tackles for a loss in the game. That's a big deal on a team that's going to run fullback dive and veer and not give you opportunities to tackle them for losses.
Right.
But Kentavious Catlin really played well at the line of scrimmage. It's the best he's ever played. Our defensive line is bigger and stronger than it was a year ago.
Well, I noticed just being on the sideline, looking at your defensive line compared to their offensive line, the defensive line was bigger than the offensive line.
No question.
And much faster.
And no doubt, Brody Vinson's gained 60 pounds. He played 205 last year. He's 265 today. I mean, that's a massive deal. Jaden Vance and those guys are all better. E.J. Colbert with his hand down is better than he was as a stand-up guy last year.
Right.
And of course, Andre Reese, the lone senior, he played really well. The two inside linebackers are special. I mean, Harrison and Tebow were everywhere. The very first play of the game, they ran fullback dive, and Tars hit it for no gain. And really got in there and stroked the guy. And I thought that was a tone setter for the physicality of the game. And like we talked about, our box, our D-line and linebackers controlled that football game. And then our DBs played well. Outside of a couple of plays, I mean, Kevon Samuels was really a spark. Played a huge 4th and 3 and knocked the ball away as they were going in to score. And then we had, of course, our two safeties played extremely well. Sheldrick had an interception, and then another one that two more that were almost intercepted. Caden Marchbanks had an interception that really finished the game. So I thought defensively, overall, we played really well outside of 2 major plays. And then offensively, our offensive line, you know, we had to replace Russ Green and Ryan Pugh. We had no bad snaps. We dropped a snap. But C.R. Wallace was very solid as our center. That was a big kind of fear of mine going into his first game starting ever. Right. But I thought overall we ended up playing 7 offensive linemen. All 7 played fairly well. There's room for improvement. But they dominated the line of scrimmage at times, and I was really pleased with that. Our fullback and tight end were solid. And then our receivers caught everything that was thrown to them. We had one drop. Burt dropped the stand screen on 3rd and 2, which really we should have run the football. That was a decision by our quarterback, and he'll learn from that, you know, because we can run the football with those 2 senior backs. But I was just pleased with the efficiency of the offense, again, outside of some penalties. But overall, I think we were like 18 of 23 passing total. We had 3 different guys complete passes. You know, we had 8 guys catch balls. Right. I mean, that keeps a lot of people happy in the locker room, and that's important. So we were able to distribute the ball evenly. And for the most part, guys stepped up. We just got to, we got to be a little more consistent, and we'll get there.
Right. One thing that you didn't get to do in that game is to play a lot of backups.
We didn't.
It was starters only.
Right.
So we're filming this on a Monday, and you guys are supposed to be playing a JV game.
Right.
How important is your JV going to be this year to get some more reps for some of these guys?
Well, huge. I mean, we had some guys that probably hindsight we should have got into the rotation on Thursday. When those games get tight, though, it's hard to send anybody. You kind of play the hand you're dealt. You know what I mean? At that point, you just sort of stay with the hot hand and try to survive. And, I thought 21-6 we were going to be able to kind of, if we were able to push it out one more, we could really start to play people in that game, which would have been a great experience for a lot of kids. But because of that, then today becomes a tremendous, experience for our players.
Right.
I think our JV is going to be really good. I really do. I think, we've got the quarterback in place to be good there. We've got some guys that played a little JV last year, but were mostly freshmen or 10th graders hadn't played much. And tonight we'll play some guys that need to play, guys in new positions that need to play. And so that development, both in our JV and our junior high, is huge. Our JV, this is my philosophy on that, is like tonight we're playing Carver Birmingham. Well, they're a bigger school than us. And we're only going to play teams that are bigger than us. We don't play anybody our size or smaller in JV. Junior high is the same way. We play in the Birmingham area, and so we play 7 Birmingham schools in junior high. And they're all, they'll have 300 kids per class. We have less than 200, and they'll have 50-plus junior high players. We have about 35. But we want to challenge our kids in the developmental stages to play at that level. And we end up winning games. I mean, we don't go undefeated typically, but we're competing at a higher level. Why would you not push them? Right. And why would you not play kids that are going to sharpen them? You don't need to play a junior high game that you win 50-0. That doesn't really help you in any way.
Right.
We need to play, and now we need to win some games. We don't need to go 0-7, but at the same time, we need to develop those kids, those young kids. I spend my mornings, like before I came here today, training junior high athletes, lifting in the weight room. And I'm working with kids as young as 12 years old. But that's what it's all about. I want to be here a long time. And if I'm going to do that, then we're going to have to develop kids and teach them how to lift the right way, how to play the game the right way. We have a junior high staff that I feel very strongly about with Pat Ware, who was a huge addition, a guy that is experienced and had coached varsity football for a long time, but now is going to coach our junior high. I mean, we feel really confident in the developmental stages of our young kids.
Right. Well, and you guys handle the JV also, and that's something you don't see a lot of times.
Full varsity staff.
Right.
Because it's important. I mean, I want our coordinators, being around. We let some different coaches call the game a lot of times, but our coordinators are involved. I'm involved. I sort of am able to kind of be a little more free and sort of watch a little bit more than manage the game. Darius Gilbert is our assistant head coach. He'll help manage the football game, make decisions on punting or not. But, overall, we're all there because those kids need to know that they matter too.
Right, yeah. Well, let's talk about this week. No game this week. Bye week probably comes at a good time. You said you guys have a lot to work on, so this gives you an opportunity to work on that and then head into a region play starts next week against Dora.
Yeah, well, we're able to put our eyes on Dora some, and we try not to get ahead. This week is about correcting us. And again, the thing I'm so cautiously optimistic about is that we're a guy off here or there. Whether it's a fade ball that we gave up for 80 yards or a trap where we missed a tackle. I mean, 95% of the guys are in position. They're doing what they're supposed to, and we just had a bust. If we can get that cleaned up, there were sparks where in moments in that game where like our third quarter was really good Friday night. Like we came out of halftime, we drove it down and scored. We played really good defense, no big plays. Got the ball back, had a lot of 3-and-outs, forced 6 punts. That was really, really good sparks of really high execution. We just got to do it for 4 quarters. Right. And that's what this week's about. Continuing to develop depth from our young kids. I call it fall camp number 2. Because it's really cool the way that we do it. Basically it's 2-3 weeks of fall camp. We play a game, then we get an extra week of fall camp. So, they say improvement from game 1 to 2. Well, we can really do that by stretching that bye week out and being really physical. I'm going to put those young guys that are close. I feel like, now, hey, we need these guys to play, like we mentioned. Well, let's give them a shot to play against our starters. Rotate guys in there, because there were some kids, again, in the game Friday that I really wanted, or Thursday that I really wanted to get in there that we didn't. Well, this week's another week for them to prove, because it's all about trust. If I'm going to put you in there against Cullman or Dora or one of our rivals or even one of our region teams, I got to trust that you're going to get it done. And this week will go a long way for that. So we'll do a lot of scrimmaging. We'll do a lot of good versus good, and we'll rotate a lot of kids in and see if they can play at that level.
Right. Well, just anything else you want to add this week?
Well, I mean, I think, it's going to be big for us to be able to scout, as I mentioned, and really go and see. Dora's got a good team, again, as usual. They've got some electric kids that can really run, as evident in that Cordova game. And then next week, we'll go into real game prep, and it'll be good. Another thing that'll be good next week is that we'll have a full week of prep. So it won't be a Thursday game. We'll have a true 3 days, sort of a walkthrough type day, and then a game day. Again at home. So I'm hopeful that our crowd will look the same way as it did, against Cullman. I figure it will.
Probably so with Dora coming to
no
town.
doubt, and it'll be a huge game. So we're excited, but it really comes at a good time, the bye week, to heal up, because that game is so physical with Cullman. And you always have ankles and shoulders and that sort of thing, and it's a good time to heal up for us.
Now, do you give them any time off this week on the bye week?
Yeah, so the plan was that today we would practice. And then we play our JV game, and then we take the full day tomorrow. We've got a big college visit scheduled for tomorrow, and I wanted our players to be able to experience that at Auburn. And so they're going to take a bus down there and visit Auburn. Again, I can't talk about academics if I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And so we scheduled the week with our guidance office to get that done. We'll practice Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday will be more of a real scrimmage day, but we're going to go back on Wednesday and do board drills and what I call Florida drill and kind of get after it. Because I want I thought, we were really physical Thursday, but, we need to continue to sharpen ourselves there, tackle to the ground some, and be really physical at practice so that we maintain that edge. Because typically, if you're winning the line of scrimmage, you're the most physical team in the game, then, you're going to win a lot of ball games. And I thought we were at least right there with Cullman Friday or Thursday night. So we'll do that, sharpen ourselves, and then look forward to next week.
All right. Well, Coach, congratulations on the win, and hopefully we'll be talking about beating Dora next week.
No doubt. Thank you, James.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week for week 3 of the Bryan Moore Show. See you then.